For the fans. For the players. For the big plays. Firebirds Weekly. This week's guest is head coach and general manager Damon Ware.
Welcome to Firebirds Weekly on a Thursday, a special Thursday edition of Firebirds Weekly. My name is Adam Samarov, and I'm here with my co-host Chris Sipperly. And tonight we have the head coach and general manager for the first time in a few months with us, Damon Ware. Damon, how are we doing this evening?
Busy, tired, ready to get this weekend underway, but glad to be here.
I should have actually mentioned. I have to say instead. I have to go. You're undefeated. Yeah, my Jeff Levac impression there. So I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Loose right now. We'll tighten that up.
I love it though. Being undefeated is a great thing. Obviously, when you open up training camp, you have goals set, and our goals are lofty every year. People might think we're crazy with the lofty goals that we have every year, but we look to strive to get to this point every single year and compete for a championship, and we've been really successful doing that. So I know a lot of people don't like us, but it is what it is, and here we are again in the playoffs.
Well, let's talk about last week, last game of the regular season, playing the Washington Wolfpack, and a 98-12 win. A terrific mix of defense, offense, and special teams. Just talk about when you are 9-0 and you've clinched everything you can clinch. Just having the ability to talk to these guys and say, look, hey, it doesn't matter what our record is, doesn't matter what their record is. Let's just get out there and get it done. And obviously that happened on last Saturday.
Yeah, it was an interesting end of the season. So having 3 bye weeks over 4 weeks was something I've never experienced in my career. So it was uncharted territory. It was an awkward thing. And we really had to plan those moments out. We didn't want to get too far away from just our execution of good football. And so, again, we had to do some things that none of us were used to. But that was the thing is I thought the end of the schedule was kind of perfect, not to take anything away from Washington. I think they have a great organization. I love their jerseys. Their ownership does a great job. Their head coach was very professional. But, again, we had to do things to get ourselves ready for the playoffs. And so I'll be unapologetic one more time. It was no different than Corpus Christi. And I was kind of perturbed a little bit when people tried to act like it was a replacement game when we played Corpus Christi. It was, it was about 5 top-level players didn't play, but the rest of those players were professional athletes. And so I kind of took offense to hearing people say that we beat a replacement team, because that was the narrative. And it was like, no, it wasn't a replacement team. It wasn't like they brought in a whole semi-pro team and they played us. It was a professional team minus a couple of their top players. And so, again, at the end of the day, we are a high execution team. And, part of me wanted to just show the league, if we really wanted to score 100 points more times this year, we probably could have did it. But so for us, it was, and I told their head coach before the game, hey, I'm going to tell you now that we've got to get things on film. We've got to execute some good football. We're going to run and gun till the last whistle. And like I said, it's not out of disrespect. It's us getting ready for the playoffs. And Coach Wells was, he understood the situation that I was in. So we went out there with a basic but very strong game plan. We wanted to execute some things, get some things on film. We wanted to get both Sam and Rob in the game to get them still a bunch of reps, DB and Wade to get them reps and those kind of things. So we really had a really good plan going into the game. And we were able to do that. All phases of the game were great, offense, defense, and special teams. And we've really been trying to, really dial in on the special teams. There's a couple of games that we just didn't play as well as we should have. And so it's been an emphasis for us. So, Coach Gabe, Coach Cisse, myself, and all the coaching staff, we've really been harping on special teams. And so we had a really, really good game. Surprisingly, I've never seen in a game before 2 fumble, plays back to back,
Yeah.
and just the selflessness of the players that went down and blew up the first thing that they saw to be able to make those plays. So it was really special. It was just showing how selfless we are as a football team. Everybody did a great job. I'm super proud of everybody in this organization, from the owners down to the equipment managers, all of our coaches, our players. It's a great testament to be undefeated. But we got unfinished business, and like I said, probably the worst thing that could have happened to this league was us losing the championship game last year. I came into this year just more focused than I ever have, and I just didn't want to feel what happened last year. And so we put together an outstanding football team. I really took the team down to the studs, so to speak. And, how you talk about a house is you take it down to the studs and you decide exactly what's going to go inside of a new house. And that's kind of what I did this year. So it was pick the exact players that I wanted to work with, the exact people with the exact attitudes I wanted around the team, the right coaches that I wanted to work with. We really went through every little detail of the team, and I couldn't be more proud of that, is because the vision that I had for this team has been met. And so just thinking about that, of just how special that is, and how fun these guys have been to be around, and and everybody's bought into the culture and working hard. That's a special thing for a coach. And so I've been super pleased with the 2025 season.
We made a video about the flock support, and it ended up being 20 minutes long because we always ask the guys about that. But to a man, I think everybody talks about, because, oh, how did you come from, wherever you came from to Albany? And it's all, oh, I got a hold of Coach Ware, and Coach Ware is, a great coach and a great person. And we could probably do another 20-minute video just of the guys talking about you. So, it works that like you said, you got guys that fit the vision, and they've done that.
Like I said, I put a lot of time into this. You'd have to prove to me that you work harder than I do on a week-to-week basis, and that's no shot at any other coach. I'm a guy that wakes up at 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I go until midnight, and I sleep about 4 hours a night. So you'd have to really plan your day accordingly to beat me on what I do every day. But I love this brand. Coming here 5 years ago, just building something special, building a culture that we really wanted, and ultimately just finding the exact ways we wanted to do things. And we've really been able to do that. And I think that's a testament to a lot of the players that again, some of the stuff I've heard them say about myself is I just want to see every kid win. And so for me, it's, you come in here, I will make you a better player. I will guarantee that on every phone call. I will make you a better player. You'll win ball games. And you'll compete for a championship. And, like I said, how many teams can truly say that? And I don't mean that cocky or anything, but honestly and truly, every year that I've been here, we've competed for a championship. We've won quite a few. And so, we'll just keep this thing going. And so, the owners, they believe in the vision that I've got, and support it. And I support anything that they have going. And, again, just being a part of this community. I've just talking about flock support. That's just part of our community. It's again, I know everybody said it over, is they're more like family. It really is. It's just amazing how, a good 100 people come together and they make so many positive things happen for our young men that are away from their families and loved ones. And so they make everybody feel so at home and so special. And that alone is a huge thing. And I could talk about that for 20 minutes as well, just how important they've been to us. And, when Steve came to me a couple of years ago and brought up the idea of doing, a support system like that, you just never know what it was going to turn out to be. It was, all right, well, cool. We'll see what you do. They've done a phenomenal job of building this into something where there's a ton of people that are dialed in. They just make everybody feel so special. And so how can you not want to give back to the community? We're out there in the community as much as we can. That's one of the awards, that the awards are coming up, is the Community Service Award. That's something that's really near and dear to my heart. Obviously, we do one of the largest, disabled kids camps. We work with the Special Olympics, Best Buddies. We do all these things. I don't think people realize as much stuff as we do in the community. And more importantly than just the wins is how important that we embrace the community here in the Capital Region. And I hope a lot of people out there know how much we do in this community. And I'll do anything. If you call me and, hey, it's some school and they, hey, can you come and speak? I will. If it's not during practice time and I can squeeze in the day, I'm coming to do it. And so we really, I was getting my wife's car, getting an inspection, a couple weeks ago, and there's just people in there see me in my shirt and start asking questions about Firebirds, and I'm like, yeah, I'm actually the head coach. Oh my god, and, sold tickets right there. It's the buzz is starting to get there, and like I said, I've been approached. My vehicle that done by Mohawk Chevrolet. Again, I can't thank them enough for just what they've done to my vehicle and how they've made it just a branding piece. But just how many times I get stopped on the street where people want to embrace the fact that it's part of our brand and want to buy tickets on the road. I had a biker gang pull up on me on my way back from Lake George, and I was at first like, should I be scared? And they were just hyped up, and they were like, man, Firebird. They're yelling down the freeway, and it was just a cool moment. My wife laughed and was just like, it's crazy, just like the buzz around this football team now. And so everything that we've done to get to this point, and it's been a great deal of work, but we're so happy just where the organization is. The last piece of it really is just getting the fans in there. We need 8,000 to 10,000 people in the stands to watch this great football team and watch these young men do what they love. So that's the last piece of it. We're going to still be out there in the community. We're going to work as hard as we can. But right now is a great time to come see an undefeated football team in the semifinals against a very good football team in the Salina Liberty. And again, if you wanted to support us at all, or you feel that this is great for the community, come out, buy tickets, bring your friends, your family, your coworkers, get out there. We really need to put at least 8,000 people in the arena, obviously, for Saturday night.
And the nice thing is that tickets aren't, they're not an arm and a leg. Some places, tickets are very expensive. It's like here, it's like you pay, less than $100 and you get, tickets for family of 4 and be able to come in and watch some great football and watch these guys do their thing.
Yeah. And our game day does a phenomenal job. I mean, it's non-stop action. It's a place to take your, take your kids, take your girlfriend, take your loved ones, your wife, your grandparents. There's really something going on for everybody. And so I've not ever heard any person that came to a game that didn't have fun. So if you want something that is going to be an exciting night, that's going to take a good chunk of your night, it's inside. Obviously the weather's getting hot. Come in. We'll have the block party finally this weekend that starts at 5:00. So you've got everything you could possibly want this week. So I'm super excited for this weekend. And again, just the team's expensive. I mean, I can't stress that enough to our community. This is a very expensive sport. It requires a lot of capital. And so we do need your support. If this team's going to be here for the next 30 years, we need your support each and every year. And all that takes is for you to bring your friends and family and coworkers and come out to MVP, cheer us on while we do our thing. And again, if we can get this building, again, back to pre-COVID, we're gonna have a fantastic business that's going to be here for a long time.
No, and I think too, like we do pictures and videos every week, and every that right after the game, we'll start looking at photos and like the amount of joy that is on people's faces in these pictures. I don't think they realize how good of a time they're really having. But take a look at those pictures sometime. Look in the background. I posted one the other day with Dwayne Brown had a sideline catch on the visitors' end of the arena. The guy was like next level excited. Like that, you can't. There's not a better sport to watch in person, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It's again, it's football in a blender. It's just things going on everywhere. There's game things going on. There's fireworks. There's cheerleaders. There's a great football game. There's fantastic athletes all over the place. Right. I mean, there's whatever you want, you really can find it inside MVP Arena through the course of a game. And so I love this sport so much. It encompasses a great deal of my life. And so I just want to share it to as many people as I can. So people in the Capital Region, if you haven't been to a game, please come out and support. I will guarantee you'll have a good time.
Excellent. So let's talk about the playoffs here. We go in as the 1 seed. 2 is Nashville, 3 is Southwest Kansas, and then 4, obviously the game that's going to happen Saturday against the Salina Liberty. The last time you guys faced Liberty, I think it was the toughest game all year. That was the overtime game where Jamal Hickbottom made the play on defense, and then immediately Sam Casanova throws the winning touchdown pass. Just talk about, from that point, like that might have been your first kind of real challenge in terms of keeping, the 0 on the loss column. Talk about going from that point to now in terms of working through getting everybody better, that, kind of 1% better every day mentality.
Right. Like I said, there's a lot of people that'll say like, good teams will get a loss and, hey, that loss will wake you up. I don't think you need to lose to learn something, but you do got to have some adversity. And so that was the first game that our defense didn't come up with a bunch of stops. And so I get it. Everybody sees it as, hey, here was a moment. This was a close game. It went to overtime. And again, that they could have beat us. And I don't take anything away from them. As hard as we work, like I said, that was a very disappointing letdown again to go through a whole game, obviously, without getting a stop to the very end. And then again, we scored on every drive and we fumbled going into the end zone one time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about teaching these guys that every single play matters in a game. And so you can't let one play get away. And that was the adversity that we needed. Since then, we have not had those issues again. There's a lot of great football talent around this league. Again, the top 4 teams, everybody's got a winning record. Everybody's got some really good players. And so Salina's got a really good football team. Rakeem Cato has come and helped kind of resurrect them, but then it only made the backup quarterback Kilgo even better. So now he's having a phenomenal part of his season. They've got 3 top tier receivers: Desmond Epps, Ed Smith, and Malik Honeycutt. Those 3 are phenomenal receivers, and so they've got some really good, talented players. They've got Kerry Starks as their backer who plays some defensive line. Again, we've faced him for the last 4 years, and he's been, he was defensive player of the year back in 22, so he led the league in sacks. So they've got a ton of talent. They've got a good coaching staff, good organization. So all those things are in place for them to be a successful football team. But, if I had to put my money on a situation where would our defense have another game like they did last time, I would bet against that. And so we've worked incredibly hard. Obviously it's this time of year, it's less physical and more cerebral. We've got these kids dialed in on the film and all the details and everything, putting our game plans together. And so, we have not stopped coaching a second. We've not got comfortable. We know what's at stake. And obviously last year when you lose in the championship game, it hurts. And so we don't want to feel that feeling again. And I think our whole organization from top to bottom, from our ownership down to our equipment managers and our interns, we are dialed in to win. And so I can't wait for this weekend to happen. We've put in a ton of work. I am dead exhausted. I mean, I've put every ounce of my time into the game planning, into coaching, into all those things. And so we're ready to go. But Salina's a great football team. This is playoff football, so it's not like we're going to be facing any bad football teams in the playoffs. There's really good football teams. And so, but again, at the end of the day, this is the time where you really make your mark. I tell our guys that want to move up, you want to move up, be a winner. You know what I mean? Scouts love winners. That's the first thing. They love winners. And then second is what you put on film. And so we work on the details every single day. We go over the exact things that's necessary for a guy to put that type of thing on film. And so if they do all the things that they're coached up to do again, I think we'll have a phenomenal game again on Saturday night. It's not going to be easy. We're not, I'm not saying that this opponent is not going to be easy, but when you look at just our body of work, what we've done all season, we're going to give you 4 quarters. And like I said, it's very rare that in the second half that we do not blow teams out. We are a 4-quarter team. We're built for success. We're the most in shape team. We're the most prepared football team every night. And so, like I said, I'm super excited to get a chance to play Salina again. My defense has a lot to prove. Again, they didn't get it stopped until the last, Salina drive of the game. So they got a lot to prove. I'm excited for them. But still, I'm excited for the offense. Samchak Castronova, Dwayne Brown, these guys will be up for league MVPs and offensive MVPs and first team AF1 honors and all those things. So there's a lot to play for. And again, these big moments mean a lot. And I just look forward to this game. I've been itching to get to this game. I'm glad it's Thursday. Tomorrow we'll go through a walkthrough. We'll put in our final touches and then let the guys rest. And then Saturday it's time to go. So I'm super excited, super pumped, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, so it's like, so you talked about game planning, and you mentioned, obviously Rakeem Cato and the Kilgo both, kind of help with that offense. How do you prepare for a team that has two guys that can run it all? Like, I mean, Sam obviously is kind of the main guy. You can put Rob in, obviously, but like 2 guys that kind of fill in everywhere. How do you kind of game plan for that?
You really have to be prepared for each one of them separately. So we've had to break down the film and take the film out that Kilgo's been the quarterback, take out the film that Cato's been. So there's two distinct game plans. And like I said, we don't know for sure the medical condition of Cato. He was obviously knocked out of the last game. I would assume he's probably in concussion protocol. I don't know that for any factual basis, but from looking at the film and seeing what happened, I'm assuming he's in concussion protocol. So you just never know how those things will work. That's up to medical professionals. That's way above my pay grade. Will he be cleared by our game? Like I said, I assume that he would be, but maybe not. I don't know.
You have to prepare for it regardless.
Absolutely.
So do they do anything wildly different in terms of play calling in between two quarterbacks?
Like I said, Kilgo's more athletic, and so he's got a strong arm and he's very athletic. Cato is just he's just squirmy, gets the ball out of his hands really quick. He's a big time quarterback. I mean, he had a 5,000 yard season at Marshall, so this is a kid that obviously can put the ball in his playmaker's hands. He does a real good job of just getting the ball to the open guy, and so they've got three really good receivers. Like I said, this is. All the teams that are in the playoffs have really good receiving core, but it's hard pressed to not say this is one of the best receiving cores in all of AF1.
I think it ends up being a matchup of one of the best offense guys, but then obviously the defense, and all the defensive backs, Mike Lee and Trey and Kyle Chandler, the new signee from a couple of weeks ago. What's the key to slowing those guys down, Malik and their receiving core? What's the key to slowing them down?
Marcus Smith will be back, obviously.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say I wasn't sure if Marcus is going to be back, so that's good to know that he's going to be back out in the field.
And there was no reason that he wasn't hurt or anything. I held him out of the Washington game just because he's a player that I just cannot lose. He's
Correct.
Such a good player. He's the quarterback of the defense.
He's a captain for a reason.
Yeah, he was mad at me. I'll be straight up honest. He was really mad at me. You could see his face during the game. He's been pissed because he wanted to play. But you know what? As I tell players, I'm not always going to make the best decision for you. I'm going to make the best decision for us. And so that is my job title. And again, sometimes it's going to be some things that you don't like, but I'm going to do what I think is best for our football team. Last year, we had some injuries and down the stretch that, again, could have been, we could have probably handled a little bit differently. We had a real tough schedule last year. We were beat up. And so it just didn't seem like it's something that I wanted to risk. He is one of the best safeties in the country, and so I wanted to make sure he was 100% healthy going to this game because, again, they are such good receivers. And so the key is going to be, him putting us in the right position again, making sure, again, he's helping with the adjustments and things on the back end. Coach Hobbs and him have a great relationship, and they do a great job of slowing receivers down. So, again, but we're going to have to play a little tighter. We're going to have to hit home, obviously, in the box. We need to get their quarterbacks off their spots. We need to make them roll out because neither one of them are super accurate once they get out of the pocket. So we've got a really good game plan. It's going to be a tough game. It's easier said than done, but we've got a great plan in place. Coach Cisse is doing a great job of the details of what we need to do to slow this offense down. But I'm super excited because, like I said, the defense has a lot to prove. That's one. We had one bad game, and it happens to be this opponent. Now they're here again, so they have a lot to play for again. We know
maybe it was a fluke, almost like almost like okay, yeah, like we didn't make the stops, but now we're ready to go. We're different now than we were a month and a half ago.
There's a lot to prove, and these guys are hungry. And so, like I said, we are as healthy as we've been since training camp.
We'll knock on wood for that. Let's keep that through Saturday.
Absolutely. And so that's the key is, I look at the difference between late last year and this year. Late last year, we had a mash unit. I mean, I had to work so differently as far as practices were concerned to get everybody their reps and things. We were beat up. We had a slobber knocker of a season last year. And so we were really beat up, and we were so beat up that again, there would be days hey, we're going to tone practice down to about 50% tempo to get us through practice. And so it was horrible. And so you could see just all of those things come to fruition, obviously losing our kicker right before the championship game. All these things hit us like at the last second, and it was just a rough go. And so this year I've got to come up with a plan to be healthier down the stretch. It doesn't matter what our schedule is. We have to do things in a way to keep guys healthy, and sometimes that means sitting guys down. And so we've really been dialed in on who we're going to sit each week. That has been a huge thing of our game plans as well, is making sure that we sat guys when they needed some rest. And so that's what's and then again, having these late bye weeks is huge for us, but everybody is superbly healthy. We've got a 2-game sprint, obviously, to get to the championship and be able to hoist the trophy. And so everybody's got a lot to play for. So we're super excited to start this journey on Saturday night.
So I got a question for you because obviously going into this year, defense was an area of obviously focus. As a play caller, now that the defense is roughly 10 to 14 points, giving up 10 to 14 less points, does that change the way that you call plays as an offense, or you just score no matter what?
Everybody knows me. I just want to score.
Yeah.
It's part of our culture. Score fast and score often. That's we talk about it every day. But again, to all the time and energy that we put into the offensive side of the ball is to be number one. We've been number one ever since I've been here. We've been number one every year. And so, but again, that type of effort, I wanted to make sure our defense had that kind of effort. And so I needed the right guys. I needed the right coaches. Like I said, Coach Cisse and Coach Hobbs have exceeded my expectations. They've done all the little things. They've sat and had to work, countless hours because that's the way I expect things. And so I know it's been tough on them. I know they're, again, we're at these final stages and like I said, hopefully we can hoist this trophy and at the end of it, just kind of look at each other and like, what a sprint this was. But like I said, that was the whole thing. And, in the off season, I wanted to know I had the right people around me that were going to do the work. It is not as easy as people think. I would put our job against any engineer or architect or scientist. I mean, we use that much analytics and different type of things that we put together these game plans and biomechanics and all these things that we use to get ready for a game. It's tough stuff. And so I just demand a lot. And so I'm sure our young coaches probably some days go home and like, man, like what are we doing? But that's what it takes to be great. And so, I set that tone. It's first is getting our culture set with our coaches, and we work all through the off season. We don't take any time. I tell them take a little bit of time off. Obviously, Coach Cisse and Coach Gooch, we all work at Hudson Valley as well. So we're all ready together, and we have to switch our focuses from outdoor to indoor. It's a juggling act, and I sometimes look at my schedule of year and like I can't even believe I do this, but I love the game. I love to develop kids, and that's the whole point is if you got a plan, everybody buys in, everybody's on the same page, and you put all your time and energy into it. How can you be not successful? And so that's what we've built around here. And again, we're in the playoffs again. And so thinking of the playoffs,
that's right.
I've got a playoff shirt.
There it is.
You guys will be able to purchase these playoff shirts, obviously at the block party this weekend. So come on down to the block party. Again, they'll have a table set up. And again, we'll have tons of playoff shirts. We did one last year again that did very well, and it was all over the crowd. Again, we've got another great shirt that, again, we'd love to see you wear, obviously, during the championship game if we get past this first test this weekend. So a lot to play for. Again, come out, support us, and come out and get your playoff T-shirt.
One thing, not to bring the thing down, but unfortunately, one of your main defensive cogs is going to be not playing this weekend. For those who don't know, Harold Love was suspended by the league for one game and fined an undisclosed amount of money based on some unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and stuff. But, you talk about it and, it's kind of been that next man up mentality. Guy gets injured, Derek Jones, was injured. Hey, okay, let's next man up. Hey, we're out without him right now because he's injured. Talk about, going into this game and just being like, okay, hey, next man up. It sucks that Harold's out, but we're going to get it done either way.
Yeah, like I said, there's things that happen during the season and that are just out of coach's control. Obviously, we had I think tons of people have seen the video that came out. I think it's gone over 7 million views. It's been on ESPN. It's, as you call viral, it's viral. So, again, it's just one of those things that happens. We're in an emotional game. It's a tough game. But again, once the commissioner called me and kind of brought down the punishment, you just got to be ready to move on. And so, that next man up mentality is just so true in sports. And, for everybody that's ever gone through a season, that you're lucky if you get through the season with the same guys. And so we've always kind of, understood this process. For me, I bring in, our roster's 24, 25 with an international player, but I really bring in 25 starters. So I don't have these problems. And so I don't really have backups. What I have is guys that are ready to go when they're
rotating
needed.
in
Exactly. And
through
so
this process. Yeah.
if you look at, the stuff that we've done as of late, we, again, losing Jonathan McAllister was huge. We had such high hopes for him going into the season. I believe in him wholeheartedly. Again, an injury just derailed him. And so we've already had to move up from him. So we brought in Prince Yellen, a guy that was in the All-Star game that I coached in January down in Miami. And he was a guy that was on my list. Definitely was somebody that I knew if anybody went down, I was going to call. We got that deal done. Great. Next thing you know, like I said, Marquise Lawson Greenwood, he went to the UFL, made it to the final cuts. Then he got cut there. Then he went to the CFL, got cut there, and he's back. And he wanted to be part of something special. So we got him back. And so in the Washington game, you could see us getting his legs back under him and getting him going. The second half, he looked phenomenal. And so, again, we've got guys that are ready to play. Prince is a phenomenal kid. He's, 6'6", 275, and can move. And it runs a 4.840. I mean, we got guys that are ready to come in. Obviously, we're going to miss Harold. Again, we love him. He's part of our family. But
the Romantics.
Yeah, right. The Romantics. That's kind of a funny little nickname for them. But I at this point, we can't cry about it. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We have other guys that will come in and start and play at a high level. And so Prince and Marquise are guys that are doing a phenomenal job, and they'll come in and they'll lighten that load of what Harold will be left out of.
And if you guys are able to get past this week and get to the championship game, I think Harold will be out of his mind.
Highly motivated. And so,
again, that's a better way to say it. Highly motivated.
Sometimes you need these things late in the season. Like people just don't realize just how much work you've put in by the time you get to this moment. So you're tired, you're sore, you're beat up, you're all these things, you're irritable, you're still being driven as hard as possible. And so, for the average person, that's just unfathomable. You probably, that's why this can only be done by certain people. And so all the stuff that you go through to get to this point. But yes, I think that, if we can get through this first situation, Harold is going to be fired up and ready to go. And so sometimes, that can be a positive as well. And so again, we'll take what happened. We'll learn from it, obviously. And let's just get ready for Salina. Let's see what happens on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think, I think defensively, things have changed obviously a lot. And offensively, nothing has changed. You guys have been number one to start. You're number one now. Scored more than 600 points. I think it's almost 700, maybe if my math's right. But
675 to be exact.
See, yeah. My math isn't very good. I tried to do it really quickly, and I failed miserably. But obviously that goes down to obviously Sam, and then this amazing offense. Sam 48 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions this year. If it was me, he'd be the number one unanimous choice for MVP. The only problem is he's maybe got another person in his locker room that may have the chance to do it as well with Dwayne Brown. Just talk about this offense, just all year, just coming up big week after week, all the time, just coming up with big plays.
It starts in the off season, and I tell people my favorite time of the year is recruiting. I'd like to find the pieces that I feel that have enough tools in the toolbox to come in and be able to do the things that I'm going to coach them. And so, it's the hard part of sports. And, again, we have all these conversations of who's coming back and who isn't. And I always just tell people, just trust me, we're going to have a football team that's going to compete for a championship. It's going to change, year after year. It's just something that happens. Hey, at Hudson Valley, our players change there too. And so it's part of the sport. I know we get caught up and we get like players and these kind of things, but this is a revolving door sport. And so it started in the off season, obviously finding the exact guys that I knew had the toolbox that I knew and had the right attitude, of course, and had the right, character to come in and then teach. And like I tell people in the off season is you're going to come here and work harder than you've worked anywhere else. And again, if that scares you, then don't come here. If you want to embrace that process, then come here. And I guarantee I will guarantee every offensive player that comes through this door, I personally will make you way better than when you come through the door. And I tell them all that, and they love that. And it's like, let's do it.
Well, proof's in
So
the pudding. You've proved it time and time again. I mean, it's not like you're just saying it. It's a thing. It's proven. It's there to be seen.
So, like I said, so we got all these guys in at camp, and like I said, Dwayne Brown was a surprise. Now, did I think he had the ability to come in and be a high level receiver? Yes, but we also had Markel Wade here already. We also had Isaiah Scott here already, and we also had Darian Townsend, who are all phenomenal receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to come in and learn our system, be coached, understand how hard we work, go through the process of learning a totally different offense than he's run in his past, and embrace it. And like I said, from day one, this young man embraced it. He's got his why. He's got his family. He's got his daughter, and it's his why. And once I realize what your why is, I'm going to test that resolve on a weekly basis. I'm going to make you do more things than you ever want to do. I'm going to make you go over details that you probably get tired of going over. But in that thing, I just watched this young man just take the coaching, want to be great, got better and better, makes every catch that you can possibly imagine. And now look at him. Like it's amazing that here he is leading the league in touchdown catches, leading the league in yardage. I think maybe Darius got over, but he's pretty much he is right there at having every major receiving statistic. And so it's just amazing just that we can continue to develop these young men. Doesn't matter who they are. They come in here, they embrace things. And again, we keep finding these guys that can do it. The crazy part is we have so many good receivers. Darian Townsend's really our leader of the room. He is the mature, the holds you accountable. He leads every drill. And he is the best player in the league with the ball in his hands. You put the ball in his hands in space, it's a highlight reel. And so you put that, now we've got, with Scott, we have one of the strongest, biggest, most athletic receivers in the league. So now you have that. Markel Wade, one of the fastest receivers in the league. We have so many different receivers that embrace the process, and they all share the limelight. We didn't go into the season saying that one receiver was going to lead the league or anything. What we said is, what we're going to do this year is we're going to get the ball to the open guy. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what, with Sam, with all our receivers, is let's get the ball to the open guy. There's nobody we have to worry about getting the ball to. Let's just get the ball to the open guy. And what Sam is doing is just incredibly special. He has really come into his own. This is his time right now. This is his time to be the best quarterback in the country, and he's proven it. He works hard. He's been a great leader. He's grown in the game. He's got his why. He's got his family. And so sometimes you have these guys that have their whys, and it's just bigger than anything that you can put in front of them that's basic. And so Sam's doing a phenomenal job. All of our receivers are doing a wonderful job. And then let's give some love, obviously, to our offensive line. Yep. I have not gone this young on the offensive line in a long time. We had a bunch of really good vets that came into camp. But these young kids just kept out running them. They kept out working them. They kept asking more questions. Again, I tell the story about Colby. In camp, Colby sent me about the longest text I probably ever got from a human about how much it meant to him. And he did not, coach, I will do anything to make sure I do not get cut on this team. And when you see and read the words that were in that text, I know I got a kid that cares, that wants to be here and wants to be great. And so to see our young guys and Zachar and Bird, and obviously bringing, Isaiah Hardy back and Brandon Nicholson, all those guys have no more than a year, removed from their college days. And so we are a hugely young offensive line, and we are the best offensive line in the league. It's because these guys wanted to come in. They were coachable. They bought into the culture, and they want to be great. And so it's just been amazing as what we've been able to do as far as from a development standpoint. And so I don't care if, from the outside looking in, I get it. You don't want to, it's hard to give us a lot of credit. You're on another team or you're fans from another place, and it's hard to say, yes, Albany's great. But just look at what we do and what we produce. Look at the type of people that we've brought here and we've made special. And that's what it's all about. We're all about this brand, and we want every kid to come here with a great experience. We're going to coach you up. We're going to make you better. And so bringing Sean Brown back, obviously a kid I've had since his rookie year in 2017. We were a little banged up, brought him in again to fill a hole. Again, it was for me, it was juggling. I could have one extra skill position player or one extra lineman. You know what? We're going to go with the trench guy this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Last year we went with an extra skill position player. This year it was an extra lineman. I'm thoroughly happy. It's only made the room better. He's come in. He understands exactly what I expect. He's brought his voice. Everybody's working so hard. They've gelled instantly. And, like I said, the hard part is, an offensive lineman's going to have to sit, obviously, coming up this weekend. But all these guys are working so hard. It's brought the level of competition up in the room, and we're really clicking at all cylinders. And so every, position on our offense, even Rob has learned so much from Sam. And for a rookie to come in, we've got him more playing time than any other rookies probably had, unless it's some kid that gets thrown into a starting job. He's gotten several halves. He's gotten a whole game. And look at his development as a rookie.
Yeah.
This kid is doing a phenomenal job, way exceeded my expectations. Again, another kid that I got out of the All-Star game I coach in Miami. My relationship with the podium and what we do in Miami every January is second to none. I have every year there's 4 or 5 players that I put on my board from this game that all come in here and all do their thing. And so it's all these things, the relationships I've built all over the country with agents, with recruiting services, with bowl games, with, people I've coached, with just word of mouth. The word of mouth that we have here is incredible. Our players talk to other players, and, I get tons of calls. Hey, well, I know so-and-so, and they said this, and, I want to be a part of that. And so what we built here is special. And like I said, let's just pack this arena this Saturday night. Let's get everybody there. These guys deserve to see 8,000, 10,000 people cheering them on. But again, we do a real special thing here. And I'm not going to apologize about the way we do things or how we win or anything. At the end of the day, all we care about around here is winning and competing for championships. And we're doing it again in 2025.
Well, everybody that's come in here has said exactly everything you just said. Like they are excited to be here. They're thankful to be here. And they know that they have a certain responsibility they have to hold up to remain here. It's been very, very refreshing. And I think that, a decent amount of people do watch this. And I do think all these guys and the stories that they tell are even helpful to younger people too. Like how important it is to actually, do the right things, put in the hard work, be grateful, things of that nature.
And we've talked to some of these guys, and there's a handful of guys on this team, who had the athletic talent to go, and play Division I football, and had, grades maybe weren't up to snuff, or this or that, whatever issues, and they've battled through that adversity in their lives. And, so when they get the opportunity to be here and have that chance, they're not fumbling it to, maybe pun intended with the wording, but you know what I mean? Like, so they appreciate the opportunity to play for this team.
I mean, again, it's something that we talk about even in camp. So the highest level obviously is the NFL. And let's face it, there's this very, very tiny amount of athletes will ever reach that pinnacle to play in the NFL. And so there's a lot that is required to end up as a top level draft pick and ended up playing in that league. You've got leagues underneath. So you've got the CFL, obviously Canadian Football League, that's been around forever. Now you've got the UFL. So those are that next step. And where do they get most of their players? They get most of them guys that were cut from the NFL. So now you have that. Underneath that level, the next level down is us. And so people don't take this into consideration. When you're in college, you don't necessarily think, I'm going to go play arena football. You know what I mean? You think NFL. And so the problem with that is there's only so many jobs out there. And the one thing that I teach my players is be thankful. There is only so many jobs at a high level that you can get paid a decent amount of money to play the game that you love. You have to be thankful and understand that you're blessed to be here.
It's 53 guys on a roster and 32 teams.
Exactly. So
my math's not good, but
right,
it's
there's
1,500 or so.
So 0.002% of people get to reach that level. And so these levels are hard. And so I get it. Like I said, it's the hardest thing for a young man to come out of college thinking that he can go to the NFL and play and compete, and him to realize that that dream might not happen. At the end of the day, these are the kids that I find, and I teach them that you're blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Now come here and be thankful and learn, because there's always things that you can do to get to the next level. I have a very direct and series of events that we have to do before I will tell a kid that he's ready for the next level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my job to get you ready for the NFL, so to speak. It's not, we don't have a full connection with the NFL that we have that pipeline, but with the UFL we do. There's 4 teams that I work with to try to get guys up, and we've been pretty successful at getting guys at least to get to camps. And so there's things that you have to do to get to that next level. There's a lot of kids that make plays on a film that doesn't mean anything. There is a way to do it. There's the mechanics of it. There's measurables that for every position. There's all these things that happen. And so you've got to come and embrace the process of, again, you could be at a D2 college and the mechanics that you were taught or the things that you were taught aren't just going to cut it. And so you sometimes have to continue, as we call it, to build value. And so that is proper technique, proper mechanics, that's, proper gameplay, that's winning, that's consistency, that's all these things. And so the thing is if you come here, we can provide you that platform. And so we get kids better. And so you look at the players that leave here and play elsewhere, they're all great players. The players that we bring in here, we build and develop great players. And so we're truly a stop for these young men to come and build value in hopes of finding a higher level, which is only a couple that might give them a shot and pay them a good deal of money to come and do it.
I like the fact that you took off your coach hat and put on your GM hat, like simultaneously. But this actually brings up a question we actually were talking about earlier. As the GM, like, you're the one that's kind of doing that recruitment process and looking for those guys. And it seems like this year, the physicality of these guys you bring in is just unbelievable. Is that something that you specifically think of, like, okay, I want to bring in this guy, okay, let me see the film. Okay, that's fine. But then you get him and then like you just see like this extra gear and you're like, okay, that's why I brought this guy here.
Won't give up the trade secrets, but
no, don't give up any trades. I don't mean that, but
I have a way that I look at film and a way that I grade players through the film process. And then that's the first part of the process. So getting through the film. And so you're most players don't really understand how the process works, but you're going to send out a highlight film to coaches like myself. And so I will be the first to go through that evaluation process of your film. And that's just to give me an idea if I just kind of think that you have some tools that could gravitate to the next level. After that part, it is the interview process. I have obviously as a psychology guy myself, I have a series of psychological questions I'm going to ask you. So it's kind of an aptitude test that I'm going to give you, like the NFL does.
The Wonderlic.
Exactly. I'm going to go through this series with every single player, and I jot down every single answer, and I'm going to go back and evaluate these answers as well. So we go through that part of the process. At that point, if the tools seem to be in place in the toolbox, the psychology of an athlete seems to be in a place that I feel acceptable, the next step is I want to get a bunch of full game films, because like I tell our guys, if you can't come up with a 2.5 minute film of you making some play, you shouldn't even be talking to me at all. So yes, in a series of you played 12 games at the college level, if you can't come up with 2 minutes of plays for yourself, then obviously you're not going to make it anyway. So I want to see full game film, because that's the next step of it is how consistent are you? What's your body language? All these other factors. And so I go through that. That's my next phase. And then again, after I do that, I'm going to call you back again, and we're going to talk about the things I see on film. That feedback that I'm going to give and the conversation with that athlete is going to mean something to me as well. And so I always tell kids, hey, there's no right or wrong answer. You know what I mean? I don't want you to, because I hate that too, as somebody tries to tell you the answers that they think that you want to hear. Mm-hmm. No, I just want you to speak freely, talk, again, let's just open up, let's just talk, let's get through this conversation. And then again, at that point, I'm going to evaluate those things. When you get through those 4 steps, I will figure out if I like a person enough as their character, as a person that I want to be around, and as a person that has toolbox in their toolbox that I could utilize and help them grow. And so it's a grueling process. And so I go through this with every single kid. So you got to understand, I watch 500 films in the off season. It's a great deal of time. Some of them I don't see the things and they just get pushed aside. But there's a lot of athletes that I need to evaluate, talk to, go through. It's a long process. And so then I go to the All-Star game. That's the next step. So in every January, I go head coach this team for the All-Stars with Division I, Division II, Division I AA athletes. So I'm going to get all them. So I've got access to about 160 players every year. I go and do a full meeting with the whole group, all 100-something of these guys. I put them in a conference room. We have these huge conference rooms, and I go over a presentation. I'm looking at who's watching, who's taking notes, who's this, who has questions. I'm evaluating them. Then I can interview them. So the NFL scouts are there. We do right in the same room. So, again, we had this year Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, a few other teams that were there to interview guys. Their tables are set up, and there's a Firebirds table right there. Boop. So I always let the NFL guys go first. They're obviously, again, above my pay grade. So they go through those guys, they go down the list. And then again, they end with me. Boom. All right, here we are. So, it's shocking for some of these kids because they think they're going to go to the NFL. So it's a little bit shocking, but I always want to put that in their ears. Okay, you have the NFL, you got the CFL, UFL, and then you have us. Don't forget that if the things don't go the way that you think they are, that there is another level. So I get all that time. I get to watch them practice for 4 days. I get to talk to them individually. I get to see them, how they play in a game at halftime, all those things. And then I get to spend a little time with them afterwards. Most of them will come up and give me their numbers and all these things. And so it's a great thing. So I go through all of these things to get to the athletes that we have. And so people just don't realize how much of that time that takes. And so we find top level guys everywhere. There's no place I won't look. I'll look at any school. I don't care. NAIA, Division III, Division II, 1AA, and that's the thing is and again, all the other leagues that are out there, all the other teams that are out there, all the, you got teams over in Europe, teams in Mexico, you got all these people recruiting from the same pool, but I will find the guys that I absolutely want to work with every single year. I'll get them here. And again, we've been special. Every year we've competed for a championship. And so, like I said, I'm just happy to be in this place one more time in 2025.
How many people do you think you talk to in a given off season? Like 400 people, player-wise, from top to bottom?
I couldn't even tell you a number, but it's definitely, it's probably over 400 people.
Yeah,
I would say.
How hard is it to go from your, to have to wear both hats? Like you look at other coaches in this league and they don't have that. It's like they're the head coach and it's a football thing and that's how they do with it. How much more difficult is it to have to balance those two hats? Obviously out in the off season, you're not coaching and you're not playing games or any of that. So you've got the time for that, but how do you balance that? Like during the year where you're head coach, so you're making all the decisions on that side, but you're also a GM, you need to make personnel decisions. You want to look at guys, see what's going on. How hard is it to balance those two hats?
Great question. Wish more people ask this question. It's some busy work, and it requires me to, like I said, I get to the office at 6 a.m. and leave some nights at 8 p.m. There's a ton of work to be done, but for me, I love this brand. I absolutely love it. And so when you take ownership of something and you treat it that way, then it's going to remain at a high level. And so instead of me saying, all right, let's go out and find somebody else that him and I can work well together, that he'll put in the time I put in and all these things, when I know all the systems and I know exactly how I want to do these things, it would just behoove me to do it myself.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Instead of trying to teach, hey, all right, Chris, you're the GM. I got to teach you what I'm looking for. I got to teach you why things are. Then you got to send me stuff that I'm going to have to go look at.
And then you got to justify the whole thing.
I'm going to be doing just as much work doing it that way. Mm-hmm. So I might as well do the job. And so our ownership entrusts me to take care of all these responsibilities. I would say I'd probably do an ungodly amount of work per year. I'm sure my family misses me quite often, but they, like I said, my family's at every single game, loud and proud. We love the process. We've been in this my whole life. I've been in coaching and football. So at the end of the day, man, it's just part of the thing.
You have a great support system.
And again, I couldn't do it without that support system. And so super excited, shout out to my son graduating tops of his class, going to college at Hudson Valley with me. We just went and signed up for his classes.
That's awesome.
There we
His
go.
grades are just phenomenal. He's just such a good kid. And
is he just doing? Is he got a major, or is he just kind of doing the basic stuff?
He'll be a doctor, so it's pre-med
perfect.
stuff. So he'll be in the biological sciences program over at Hudson Valley.
That's terrific.
They were laughing like, so you're going to play football for your dad with this class loaded? And my son's just like, yep. I've been doing this my whole high school, so I'm just so proud of him.
Congratulations to him and you and your whole family, obviously, to him graduating.
So again, it just takes, like I said, I got to do those type of things too. So being the GM, being a head coach, taking care of a family, I literally work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I really don't take many days off, maybe 1 or 2 days here or there occasionally, but I honestly. People mirror me for a day or two and they're like, there's no way I could live your life. And, but that's how much I just embrace the process. So there's all these people inside this organization that depend on me. My family depends on me. So I want to be great every single day. It's something I say every day when I come in and the coaches come to my office. It's, they're like, hey coach, how you doing? It's another day to be great. And that's the line we use every day is another day to be great. We can be great or we can sit back and we can let things pass by and we could, hey, let's go have fun today or let's not work hard today. And we can let a day go by and we won't be great. But that's what I teach our young coaches is every day you can be great. It's how you attack your day, how you use your time management, how organized that you are in your day, in your plan. I teach all those things. And so, like I said, we do a lot of work, but again, there's a reason why we're successful here. And, like I said, but great question. Being the GM it's another full-time position. So being a head coach, being the recruiter, the GM, going out and visiting clients and doing those things, it's, going out and speaking at school. It's, my day is never empty. Let's just say that.
I think, you nailed it right. Nail on the head.
I got, if you look on here, there's a comment from one Nanny. I take care of us, she says.
Couldn't do it without a support system. There's just no doubt about it.
Is loving the brand. That is the number one most important thing, regardless of what you're doing. You got to love who you work for.
1,000%.
I mean, you can't. If you want to be successful, you're shortchanging yourself if you don't love it. And
not just love. I mean, it's a part of me.
That's right.
It's when we went through the rebranding.
Yep.
You can either just, it's just something else, or you can own it. And so when I'm in Orlando, like I said, I've told this story and it's just hilarious. We lose in the semifinals in Orlando. By the time I got back to Orlando from Jacksonville, a couple hours, it's probably 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Get back at 2:00 in the morning. I woke up at 5 a.m., packed a truck and started driving here. So there was people, you're already leaving? Yeah. This was not my brand.
That's
I
right.
didn't love this brand.
Mm-hmm.
I was here just because of, the things that happened this year. But I'm out of here and I'm going right back to New York. And so all the other job offers I had, I said, obviously being in Albany is number one. If for some reason that we can't rebrand and do what we think that we're able to do, then obviously I'll gladly take an interview. But right now, I didn't even want to even interview for anybody else. I knew this is where I wanted to come back to. I trusted the people that were here. I drove straight up here, probably on a 30-minute nap that I took at a rest area, got back here. We went and literally I got here and started working that day. And here we are today. It's just so special. It's like I said, this is a part of me, this brand and the rebranding, everything that we did to get here. It's a part of me. And I will, like I said, I will hold this in my hands like a newborn baby and take it as far as I can. And God willing, if I ever move on from this spot, that I will leave this baby in somebody's hands. That's going to be absolutely the most perfect job you could ever walk into. So.
And that actually is a great segue to maybe my last question. And Jake actually posted it a little bit ago, but I thought it was a really great thing. You talk about obviously, Albany being home, and we talk about the flock support, and we talk about all that. what will it mean to you to be able to hoist the trophy and bring it home to these fans here in Albany?
I mean, the first thing is this is our team, and I want everybody in the community to embrace the team. We don't have an NFL team, we don't have an NHL team, we have us. So this is your team, and so that the first thing is just everybody to embrace. Again, the fact that if we're hosting this trophy, that here we are again, and all the hard work and all the hands on deck that it takes to get us to this point. The other factor is just this in the rebranding process that we really didn't realize how special it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great affinity for the name before, you know what I mean? And all of the gear and clothes and everything and the rings that I have from that brand. But it just, every time I look at them, it just seems awkward to me to put them on or to look at them. And it's just like, I want a ring with a Firebird on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this rebranding has been so special. It would mean the world. It was so heartbreaking to not give that to our ownership group last year. It's something that, again, I came off the field last year. My wife is bawling. I mean, I had to almost carry her out. She's like, you work so hard that she was just floored. And so I love this brand. I love our owners and them especially to let them come around and us all hold that trophy up in front of the crowd would be a moment that would just be the most special thing that's happened in a long time. And again, hopefully that can catapult us to do this over and over and over and keep building this process. And so, there's man, I would love to get that arena at over 10,000 people for the championship game.
That's the only thing that's missing.
And then throw that, black and red and orange confetti all over us at the end of the game, and the champagne.
Get a parade down Pearl Street. It'd be like a Canyon of Heroes, but up here instead.
Absolutely. So, like I said, it's such a blue collar town. It's everybody works so hard. Everybody. I've never been around somebody that didn't make me feel welcomed, and so that alone is just, I love the people here. They've embraced my family. Now that we've lived here a couple of years, I mean, this is my home. And like I said, there's nothing better feeling than winning it for us, not just me, not just the players, but us.
I don't know. I can't add to that. I think that's amazing.
Yep.
Damon, we appreciate you coming on. You did this for us, when you guys were right before the season started. And now the second season is starting, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you, hopefully after a championship, obviously. And I think I have a good idea for an off-season podcast. We're going to follow you around and see how crazy your GM job is.
I would love it. Anything we can do to just keep our brand out in the community and letting people know just how hard we work for you guys, then, hey, I'm all for it. And you guys do a great job. Like I said, you guys have interviewing all of our players and people in our front office and everything. I think you guys did a phenomenal job, and I'm so happy that you guys are a part of this thing with us. There's a lot more to come, I know, from you guys as well, and you got my support 100%.
It means a lot, Coach.
It really does. Yeah,
it's been a labor of love. The Firebird, the Firebirds logo means something to me, not nearly as deep as it is for you, but my most cherished sporting moment of my life was the '99 Arena Bowl. I was
16, 17, somewhere around there.
And that's to this date still the best experience I've ever had as a fan. It has not let go. So anything that we can do to help hopefully put some asses in seats, that's what we want to do. And I feel like we're starting to see that pay some dividends. Not from us exclusively, but I mean, shoot, there was times in that arena this past Saturday night, you couldn't avoid the crowd noise. It was a beautiful thing. You could be on the other, you could be in the parking lot almost, and you can hear the crowd, and that's something that I think we all are looking forward to.
I mean, my wife and I actually noticed there was people in every single section. Like sometimes like just for some reason they avoid the corner or whatever it is. There was fans in every single section on the lower bowl.
It's building.
So it really is building.
I love our building too. It's a phenomenal place to come watch a game. We really do have the best game day, the best presentation of a sporting event in the league. And so, at the end of the day, it just we need that support and just hearing our crowd cheer is loud. There are sometimes in there I can barely hear myself think. I mean, it's that loud, and we love you guys. keep bringing the people out, keep finding people that have never heard of us and bringing them out. Again, like you're saying, just something that you remember from being 15, 16, 17 years old, and how it feels to be at a championship game and to be a part of that moment and feel the confetti come down and see how much it means to us and the tears of joy and all the things that happen. These are things that you'll never forget. But again, bring out people that you have never seen a game. I will guarantee you they will not have a bad time. So let's pack up the house this weekend. Let's come out to the block party. Let's break bread together. Let's enjoy each other. In our sport, you can actually come down, get an autograph from the players, talk to them, ask them questions. I mean, you can't do that at the NFL level. You can't do that at the CFL level. So you're kept away from everybody. Here, you can be part of the family. You can come up, embrace us, talk to us, shake our hands, get an autograph, all those things. We really are the most exciting sports ticket around. And so, like I said, come out, embrace it. Like I said, I found a couple new people again that we've got some tickets to leading up to this game. There's a bunch more people that again, just even on the golf course, I've met people. You know what? I'm coming to a game this week. It's starting to catch. And so, but again, this is a very expensive business, and we need your support. Coming out this weekend, see a semifinal game, one step away from the championship game. You'll have a ball. You'll see great football. And again, we'll embrace you with love and respect all the way through it.
Excellent. So we just want to talk about some of the things happening on Saturday. I think the blocks party starts at 5:00, I believe, right on Pearl Street, right in front of the MVP Arena, South Pearl Street, right in front of the MVP Arena. 6:30, we're going to go live with the pregame show. We're going to be drawing the raffle for that helmet. We've raised nearly over $600 so far for that. So that all is going to go for the Center for Disability Services. So we're excited to.
They'll be here Saturday,
and somebody from the center is going to be here and pick
great.
the ticket.
They do a pep rally for us every year. We love to go there. That's another great partner of ours. Another thing we do in the community every year. So we love them as well.
Right, and we wanted to donate something to them as well. So the winner of that will be drawn on Saturday during our pregame show, and then we'll have a postgame show after the game on Saturday night. And is there anything else I'm missing?
No, just switch this. Get out there on Saturday.
Go to albanyfirebirds.com for tickets, or come to the box office down at MVP Arena. Pick up your tickets. We want to try to get as many people there on Saturday as we can, make that place super loud. It already is, but let's make it even louder. And so for me, for myself, Adam Samarov, my co-host Chris Sipley, and of course Damon, we will see you guys on Saturday. Thanks for watching.